Hey, what's your problem? You have business problems? We have business solutions.
Not guaranteed.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Life is a fight.
It is.
In business, every day is a fight.
Is that negative?
So, hey, what's your problem?
Yes, thank you, John David Wells. As always, the big voice guy for the What's Your Problem show. It kind of is negative when you think that everything in life is a fight, but it kind of is. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. It's always something. That is the basis of this podcast. The What's Your Problem podcast is a Middle Tennessee business podcast for Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals where we talk about the one thing that keeps us up. Because it really is always something. And once you accept that and realize it, it just gets better. Okay? This is a video and audio podcast. Check us out at whatsyourproblempodcast.com. Give us a like, rating, share, all that fun stuff. I was told to ask for 5-star ratings before I was asking for, 1-star ratings. I don't really care. Just rate it. But I was told, no, encourage 5-star ratings. Makes sense. Check us out. Make sure you rate us. whatsyourproblempodcast.com. I am your host, Jim McCarthy with JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com. And today, new podcasters themselves, the Bogetti Partners. We've got Kara and Maggie.
Thanks.
Maggie on the left, Kara on the right. And stuck in the middle with you, Steelers wheel. Kara gets that reference. I'm not.
I don't.
Yeah, you don't get that.
She doesn't. Yeah. That's before her era.
That's It's like I don't even not even sure if I date myself by knowing who the band is. Did you know it was Steelers Wheel, Kara?
No, that I did not know.
You know the song though.
I definitely know the song.
Yeah.
Do not ask me to sing it.
Oh my gosh.
Do not ask her to sing it. Thanks for having us,
Jokers to
Jim.
the left of me. No.
What?
Was it Jokers to the left of me?
Or to the right of me?
To the right of me. Something to the left of me, Jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
In the middle with you.
I'm going to have to listen to this song after.
It's a good song.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I want to say it's a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
Type
I
of
might
band.
know it.
Yeah.
I might know it and just don't know the title.
I only know it because I worked for a classic rock station.
Okay.
So I remember seeing the computer with the name of the band and the song.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I know Steelers Wheel. So anyway, we're going to kick off something that we call the Random 5. We told you about it. It is what we call in podcast land a featureable feature. Sponsorable feature.
I love it.
Telling you. And it is brought to you by it'syourshow.co. If you want a podcast like this with a host who messes things up and all that fun stuff, hit us up. What a sell. If you're looking for a way to get good micro content for the internet, podcasts are marketing machines, and we know how to put them together, as evidenced by the two ladies in front of me. We started a podcast for them called the Work-Life Balance Podcast. Check them out.
Check us out.
Thank you, Jim.
You're very welcome.
Shout out.
And it sounds so much better now as we got the right equipment and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
We're still working on the camera side. We need to get a good camera, but
We're growing. We're
that's
growing.
right.
Practice.
This podcast is growing too. So, I mean, I've just put lights up on a backdrop stand. So,
Love it.
Like it.
we're working with what we have here. You evolve over time.
That's
All
it.
right.
right.
Random 5 or 5 random questions, completely random. So if we don't know the answer, we're uncomfortable or anything like that, just say pass.
Who goes first?
Anybody. Shout it out.
Okay.
Question number 1. Is intelligence or wisdom more useful?
Wisdom.
Boom.
Wisdom. I'll go with wisdom.
Wisdom is from experience from failure.
You got it.
That's the process, right?
You got to fall to stand up.
Like my computer not refreshing is failure right now because it's not connected to the freaking internet. So keep talking. Let's talk more about wisdom while this computer connects once again to the stupid Wi-Fi.
Kara's right there. You got to fall down before you can stand up.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
that's that saying. How many times you fall off the bike before you can ride it?
That's right.
True.
And then once you know how to ride the bike, you never forget.
That's it.
Typically.
Because you don't want to
That's
fall
very
again.
Okay, question number 2. Where do you like going for walks?
Is it multiple choice or is it just? And even last one was multiple choice. Okay.
Wherever you think.
So my neighborhood.
Oh, the beach.
Oh, nice. I like
It's
the
very
beach.
you.
I like to take long walks on the beach.
I know. Very much Kara's vibe.
What's your beach? What's your preferred beach? 30A or?
Well, now that we're here,
Right.
Destin for sure, Miramar
Destin.
area. But California was Capitola.
Capitola?
which is like the Santa Cruz Bay.
Okay.
area.
Okay. I've only been to LA 3 times.
This is not LA.
The whole Santa Barbara.
This is-
Okay,
feels like
Santa
LA.
Barbara, that's amazing too.
Yeah.
But this is Northern California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you. But that's where the water's really cold, though, right?
The water's cold, the beaches suck, but the
But
environment
it's
is beautiful.
They're good for walking.
They're good for walking.
Question number 3. If you found out you would inexplicably fall down dead in 1 year, what would you change about your life? That's introspective.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't worry about money or stupid things like taxes and the government. I would do whatever I wanted to do every day, run it all up on a credit card, and just go crazy for the last year of my life.
Oh my God, I love that because then you leave them with debt. Well, you don't have any kids to leave debt
I
to.
don't have kids
No.
to leave debt to. I
So
would
no
just
one's
run it
paying
up. Not married, it would just.
Oh my
I don't know what it would do, but I would just have fun. That's all I know.
Just have fun.
Just have fun.
Just have
But
fun.
you said get rid of something, right?
Well, I guess what was it? Get rid of? I already refreshed it. I have no idea.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off her. Like, just live balls to the wall, no stress, live your life to the fullest, and travel as much as you can with no regret on financing,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
I would do that. Yeah, I could see that. Winding down here, I think this is question number 4. What's the most rage-inducing thing you've had to make or put together?
Rage-inducing, like
Yeah.
something that really makes you upset.
My bed frame. Me and Reed put together a bed frame last year, and it was the biggest hassle I've ever done. And it was just so frustrating.
For me, it was a crib.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, putting together anything is just rage-infused.
Kara was like,
I don't
John.
mind putting
can't.
stuff together. It's when I have to fix really small, nitpicky problems. Drives me.
Like a box that comes with 5,000 screws.
Don't mind it.
That's okay for
That's
you?
okay for
oh,
me.
I'm
So
like,
what do you mean? Give us an example of what you mean.
Anything that happens like with a computer, I'll be rendering something and small little things won't work. We should not be having these problems in this day and age. In 2022, I should not have to worry about, a video file not loading onto the
Right.
workspace. I'm like, guys, this is kind of stuff we dealt with in 1999.
Yeah.
Why are we dealing with this now? I've got stuff to do. I shouldn't have to fix this.
it's just annoyance.
Can you tell I get a little ramped up?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Rage inducing.
Rage-induced. Mine, beyond that, it's just getting in the car and driving and with crazy people on the road. That induces my rage more than anything.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I go in waves with that. They're a lot farther apart these days for me.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I tend to just relax when I drive, though.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I can't control them.
Yeah, you can't control it. Exactly. Question number 5. What movie have you seen more than 7 times? Oh my gosh, I can answer that easily.
You go first.
Top Gun.
Which one?
Well, I've watched number 2 twice, or 2 or 3 times now. Which
Yeah,
I
that's a
love.
good
Oh
one.
my God.
Great
love,
movie.
Love it. But the original.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I take that back. I have seen that many times. But one that just popped in my mind, and now I just gapped on the name of it. My favorite love story ever. Where she has dementia and then.
Oh, The Notebook.
The Notebook.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't know the name of
Oh
that.
my God, I just gapped on it. That movie I've seen.
That actually came up in the last podcast with, or one of the last podcasts with Chris Hope. He talked about
love
being
The
that being one of his favorite
Most
movies.
incredible movie.
Or the movie that makes him cry is
For
The
sure.
Notebook.
Yes.
And he says that if it's not that, it's This Is Us, the TV show.
I love that
I
one
didn't
too.
see that.
What?
So
oh,
Maggie,
that was a good one.
What movie?
Okay, there's a series which is Twilight. Love
Yeah.
the Twilights and Harry Potter. Seen all of those, but movie in particular, Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
that's a good one.
It's like my
yeah.
number one favorite movie.
That's
I
a
think.
good one. We
Love
just
it.
watched the other night When Harry Met Sally. Remember that one?
Yes.
I love young Meg Ryan.
I
All
do
of her
too.
movies.
Yeah, no, before the pre work being done on her
What
face.
happened to her?
Right?
I haven't seen her on anything. She is
haven't
out of
either.
the scene.
She, I don't know, she got work done and then disappeared
I know.
because she's no longer adorable.
Dang it.
Yeah.
She was a good one.
She made her money. That's okay.
She's out.
I guess so. Well, there you go. There's the random 5. My movie easily would be either Endgame or Infinity War.
Okay.
Well, we
no.
figured it was going to be something that goes along with the theme of this
That
room.
realm.
I got to the age where, we saw Infinity War in the movie theater and it ended on a down note, kind of like Empire Strikes Back. Everybody, died literally. Well, not everybody. Half of everybody died in the end of the movie. And I was like, this is awesome.
Oh.
This is great. This is so unique. We need more of this. More death at the end.
More death.
More people being let down. Okay.
I hate to tell you, I haven't seen it.
It's
know, me too.
Well, I just completely
That's
spoiled
okay.
it for you. But
It's okay.
I was always like in an arm's length. Marvel, Avengers, those types of movies. Oh yeah, they're fun. You know, hey, it's another Avengers movie. Let's go check it out. We watched Age of Ultron, and I was like, I have no idea what half of this stuff they're talking about. But hey, the scenes are fun. The battles are fun.
Yeah.
There's Tony Stark. And we go to watch the Infinity War movie. My wife, hey, you want to go see the Infinity? I'm like, is that the new Avengers? Yeah, the new Avengers movie. Okay. Let's go, take an afternoon, take the kids and have a fun time and everything. And I watch this thing. I'm like, oh, hey, well, these guys, the Guardians they're part of this? Oh, there's Black Panther. Wait a minute. They're all coming together now, and this is cool. Are they? Oh my gosh! Now you realize the stakes that are, they're fighting the big bad. That's the overarching enemy over 20 some odd movies, and all. I'm like, gosh, it's epic.
Oh, so you loved it. You fell in love.
I'm like, we got to watch all these movies again, and we got to fill in the holes.
Speaking of Black Panther, that is probably one of my favorite, I guess, action movies, you could say. And now they're coming out with a new one, but without him, the
Chadwick
something
Boseman.
Wakanda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's the
awesome.
continuation of the story post Endgame, what happened in Wakanda. So, and all
awesome
that fun
movies.
stuff. But I mean, it's amazing because I like complexity in plots. I'm musically, I'm also like, I like progressive metal and rock and anything with upside down time signatures and all that fun stuff.
Oh,
Dream
wow.
Theater. But then again, I like, Huey Lewis and the News. So go figure.
All over the place.
I like it.
Yeah. So you guys are in the real estate business for
That's-
quite some time, correct?
Yes, we have.
The Bogetti Partners.
Bogetti Partners.
It's Bogetti,
Bogetti.
but I say it like Bogetti.
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 Like from
Had a little
Italian.
accent on
Yes.
Yeah, they gotta have the mozzarella and
That's-
Bogetti over in Sicily.
She loves when people pronounce her name Bogetti.
Well, it's like Bugatti.
Well,
The
if I had a
motorcycle.
Bugatti,
Yeah.
if Bugatti was my last name, there would be no Bogetti Partners.
Yeah.
What I love about you guys is that you understand the nature of decommoditizing your business and getting a podcast to help you do that, and almost becoming the mayorettes of your town and
Yeah.
your specialty and everything. It's not always about real estate. It could be about other things.
Right.
Yeah.
But it gets you the attention, right?
Sure.
And that's
That's what
the
we're
long-term
looking
game.
I think that's what we're trying to do is one, excuse me, is make a brand for ourselves.
Right.
And if the podcasting is what helps put our name out there and people start recognizing our faces and our name, then that will help
Yeah.
generate the business and help us grow.
Right.
So
That's
I think
the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just talked so much prior. We were like, we need to start doing something with these conversations. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
what are we doing? We need to start capitalizing on this somehow. And so then we reached out to you, and now here we are.
Yeah. 6 episodes in, going on 7, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think this
Seventh
week
came out. Yeah, seventh came out yesterday.
That's right, or Wednesday.
Yeah.
because every Wednesday you
Yeah,
put
yeah.
out an episode. You're getting the video episodes out there. I'm assuming at some point, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna be
they're all
handling.
out.
I think a
Okay.
few of them are on YouTube. Yeah.
All
Okay.
of them are on
Are
YouTube.
all of them on there now? Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
And then eventually you start I saw the clips that are coming out on the TikTok and
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Social media.
That's
Trying
Queen
to
over
push
here.
it. Yeah.
happy.
that's like pouring
Pushing
the gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
Or the clips. Happened to me recently.
Yeah.
As of yesterday.
As of yesterday,
Yes.
you're kind of all famous now, are you?
I just, I have been trying to put out 2 clips a week, and with the understanding that it's a long-term play. Like I always tell my clients with podcasting, it's at least 2 to 3 year grind. But sometimes you'll put out a clip that gets you a lot of attention. The clips are those are the gold. That's what we're mining for.
For sure.
And I went back and found an episode I did with a gentleman named Jason Duncan. We had a great conversation about 3 months ago. And he brought it up, actually. And as soon as he brought it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been saying for years. The whole concept of buying a house. And I feel like I'm probably going to tick off all my real estate friends by saying this. I'm not saying not to buy a house. Buying a house is important, but understand what you're buying. If you don't pay the real estate taxes, the property taxes on your house, you don't really own your house. You own the equity. You own what's the build up in it, the investment. So he brought that up in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We clipped it out. And it's got, as of now,
You started a little controversy there.
I guess, but I mean, that's what you got to do.
You do.
That's what
how
you have to
get the
do. You
attention.
got to put a flag in the soil. 41.8 thousand.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
impressive.
41,000 views.
Now, are people commenting on that?
Yeah.
You said like 200, right? You got
236 comments, 909 likes. Basically, a lot of people are they're misconstruing what we're saying. They think that we're saying don't pay your taxes. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what that just side note on that.
Yeah.
I never watched this Andrew Tate person, right?
But
my boys watch it.
Right.
So they're like, Mom, check it out. Since you're in this podcast thing, now check it out. And so I watched the one he recently just did with Pierce Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what you're talking about because it's not the subject matter, but the little clip is one little moment of that hour, 2 hour conversation.
Yeah.
And the way people perceive that, if they didn't listen to the whole episode, are taking it 100 different ways. And I think that's his controversy.
It's
misconstrued.
The context.
It's the context. Yeah. And I've listened to some of ours and I'm like, I hope I didn't say that wrong. But if you listen to maybe like the 2 minutes prior to what I was talking about, it makes sense. So that's the thing. You're not saying don't pay your property taxes.
Right.
Damn right, pay your property taxes.
Absolutely.
And I feel like Andrew Tate has that happen to him a lot. I mean, there's so much controversy around him in general, but a lot of the clips that you see of him in particular, that's a perfect example of being misconstrued because he does get misconstrued a lot and like the content gets totally off.
But if you listen to it, you'd understand it instead of them. You get judged on such a quick second of what you're saying.
Really?
Yeah.
But I mean, I would like the same thing that I tell people now about buying a house. I'm not saying don't buy a house. No, it's a good and you see it for what it is. You don't truly own the structure because if you don't pay your taxes, they will come to get your house. Even though you just told me it'll take 7 years. It takes 7 years, yeah. But still, you're going to have to pay penalties. You're indebted to somebody else, no matter what. Even to the point of losing the actual property if you're back on your taxes. But just understand that. That's what you're getting into, okay? Right. It doesn't mean to say don't buy a house. Understand what it is. Similarly with the clips, I know by putting that clip out, it would cause a bit of controversy. It may just go like a fart in a hurricane. Who knows? Which most of my stuff does.
I've never heard that phrase before. That's hilarious.
But I mean... This one happened to get a lot of attention, and because of the algorithms on TikTok, the more comments it got, and this morning I responded to a lot of them, and because of that, I think it also poured more fuel on the fire. But long as you understand that going in, Andrew Tate understands that,
But that's what a lot of those comments and things like that are looking for. They are looking for your attention. They're looking for your reaction. So after that, if you start responding to people, whether they like your response or not, they're going to pay attention to you.
Right now, we're in the mindset of culture to talk about what you're against. And that's what gets attention. Right. Because the culture is wired for that right now, based on my pendulum philosophy that I espouse a lot. Have you heard me talk about that?
No, I haven't. Go into that
Me versus we. We're going through a we cycle right now. The pendulum's at its zenith. 2023 is going to look like 1943 all over again, every 80 years. Mm-hmm. So the darkest part of the pendulum is this time. The good news is that our kids and stuff like that, the tipping point is going to be like unicorns and rainbows.
Fingers crossed.
God, I hope so.
It will. Yeah.
They got to have brighter days than what we've got going on right now.
But it's not as bad. It's look at it this way. There's nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes says that in the Bible, and it's very true. Everything's cyclical. It's not as bad as we think it is. We're not in a civil war. We're not in a revolutionary war.
Right. And we're not in the Great Depression. And we're not in the Dust Bowl. And I get we've already been through a lot of the real ugly, dark side of humanity. But we're definitely in a trying time. And I think if we can get through it in the next few years, which I 100% think we will.
I think it's all about learning from your mistakes, though. If you don't learn from history, you don't learn from the things that have already happened, you're going to repeat the same mistakes. And
absolutely.
I mean,
I'll challenge you on that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, we will repeat history. We will make the same mistakes. And there's a reason for that because, we'll go through another conflict of some sort of global impact, right? It's inevitable. Why do we not learn from history? That's what people ask. Because we don't know what it felt like. Mm-hmm. Okay. Kara, your and my parents, I'm assuming they're probably born in the 40s, 50s?
Late 50s.
Late 50s? Mine were born in the 40s. Okay. So they were on...
So are you saying you're older than me?
I'm totally older than you.
I mean, we relate on a lot of levels.
I know,
if you really want to go, I'm younger than you, Jim.
So, in the 40s, my parents were babies. Mm-hmm. In the early 40s, they were babies. It's our grandparents that understood what World War II was like. Mm-hmm. They didn't know whether they're going to be speaking Japanese or German for 4 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
No.
Scary.
We can look back on it and see what happened and understand, okay, well, it was just 4 years. We know how it turned out. But going through 4 years, think about the last 4 years of your life, Maggie.
Oh,
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Right?
A lot happens in that short period.
That's why we repeat history.
It's fair.
That's a great point, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't thought
if
about it like
if
that.
it's not tangible and you don't have those emotions and the financial strain and all that was coming down, like I was fortunate enough to have a grandmother that lived till she was almost 100.
Yeah.
So we had so many fun conversations about like what her experience was coming from Oklahoma to California, and when it was like buggies and nothing, and you know why it made sense that they're so frugal with everything.
Yeah.
Like, they just didn't have money. They were literally dirt floor poor.
Yeah.
And like she lived that. So she, like her watching my sister and how we evolved, and we're, you know, definitely a different era and financially in a different space. Like we would want the clothes and she'd be like, but we're good with just like the white bread and the tomato. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's our sandwich today. And it's like, oh, I don't know. So different. So you're
It
right.
is.
It's amazing if you're not experiencing it, how it doesn't really affect you.
But I tell people all the time, I encourage people to look for the book. I should actually put a link to it in every single episode because it comes up inevitably in every episode, The Pendulum Theory. It was written by a guy who wrote a bunch of marketing books back in the 90s called The Wizard of Ads. And he and another guy, because of their world in marketing, what they taught radio people like myself was how to properly write a radio ad. And they built a marketing agency out of it and a 21st century business school called the Wizard Academy down in Austin, Texas.
Cool.
I strongly encourage you to visit. It's game changing. But they 1 year in the past 20 years put together, you know, different campaigns and stuff for their clients. Literally the next year, what they were saying was not having an impact. Something had changed. So they like to look into what makes people tick. Mm-hmm. They discovered a series of books a book called Generations, written by a pair of authors named Strauss and Howe. One of the authors was just on Tony Robbins' podcast. You know, hits you square between the eyes with a lot of stuff that's like, oh my gosh, even just the seasons in our life and how they really relate to other people. Just so impactful. But Generations talks about the four systolic and diastolic phases of society, of culture, 20-year-ish types of periods. All right. So that book then spurned off what they called the fourth turning. The fourth turning predicted in 1997 everything we're going through now. It's
Correctly?
It's
Like creepy.
really creepy.
Oh, goodness.
And they based Pendulum off of those two books. They said, well, we see the seasons of what you're talking about, but we see it more as a pendulum swing. We're going from a me, which actually zenithed in 1983 with a 20-year upswing starting in 1963. And we all know what happened in the 60s. 1963 was really the start of the 60s. 1960 to 62 was really leftover 50s, right? And the downswing from the previous we. Going up into 1983 was me is all about, you know, phoniness, plastic hype. Think about the 80s, okay? That was the culmination of what a me is. And as we came back down to it, you also have the four different modes of society, which is, you remember in the 60s, they wrote a book, not that you were there, but I mean, I wasn't there either. But I remember hearing about it. I'm okay, you're okay.
Okay. We're,
Right?
We're okay.
It was a book.
I've heard of it. I've never read the
Right.
book. Yes.
Those play into it.
Okay.
So right now we're going through I'm okay, you're not okay. Look around you,
Absolutely.
right?
No, I think that's great. You should link that book because
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty awesome for people to just to understand what we're doing right now. Because I truly believe in the seasons.
Yep.
And then every 7 years, well, it depends on who you read,
Right.
and who you follow. But everybody's got their different. The pendulum, that is 100% accurate, and they talk about that in every book that explains what happened in the past and to now.
Society, culture.
Society, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
it's startlingly accurate. So my point basically being was that what they discovered was the methodology and the marketing language that we really need to pay attention to is what we're against. Right now is what's going to resonate the most. And to move everything forward in to minimize the impact of the zenith of a we is to have as much empathy for somebody else as possible, to understand and articulate better than they can their viewpoint.
It's true, because that's what's going to get the attention.
Right.
For sure.
And if you can understand and articulate their viewpoint better than they can,
They're going to listen to you.
the conflict is the fact that you may not be okay. That's
I'm
the
not
paradox.
okay. That's
You know what I mean? In a society where, I'm okay, you're not okay, to admit that the other side, it may be right, and you have an empathetic viewpoint on their position may indicate that you are indeed not okay.
Wow.
So that's the paradox.
It's deep.
This
It
is
is.
deep.
Shit's deep.
Yeah.
I know I'd be getting a damn philosophy lesson today. But
Anything else?
I love
Anything else you
it.
want to
I love
talk
it.
about?
My goodness.
Oh, Jim,
I love it
that's
though.
amazing.
So much knowledge, plethora of knowledge over here.
Yes.
So getting into it history-wise, how did you guys get into everything that you're doing? How did it all begin?
You want to go or you want me to go?
Like the Bogetti Partners or real
Yeah.
estate in general. Yeah. I mean, Maggie and I crossed paths a year and a half ago
Yeah, something like that.
at a bar that she was working, waitressing at, bartending at. And
What bar was that?
Copper Cellar in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
on the strip right there.
Oh, wow, okay.
On Cumberland Avenue.
Yeah.
I like Knoxville.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a cool
Yeah.
little town. So we were there visiting and we popped in for a drink with the family and she happened to be the bartender and struck up a conversation and
Yeah.
so much in common as far as like she's a psych degree. That's what I am. She was going to get a real estate license. Obviously, that's what I've done. And
Yep. And here we are. So Kara basically
Yeah.
needs to, long story short, not hand out her number at bars or hand out her number at bars more. But
Yeah, right.
we just kept talking to each other and I was like, hey, I'm moving there in May. You want to meet up when I get there? So like, I guess February we met up after I finished my
2022?
license. Yeah, this year.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, we had like met before that, obviously, but right before I was about to move here, we just kind of got together and I went and met the broker and signed that day. And then in June or end of May when I moved here, we weren't even going to start a team at first. She was just going to kind of mentor me, And then we started talking about it and now here we are. We started a team and
yeah. Well,
Makes
you know, when
ever
you give your
sense.
number out at a bar, you don't expect they're going to call you, right?
It's been a while for me.
She called within like, I think by the end of the evening, if not the first thing in the morning, I was like, oh my gosh. So I already right off the bat knew this girl was eager and ready to roll. So
I'm all about the opportunity though. If I
Yeah.
see the opportunity there, I'm going to take it.
So you already had the aspirations, Maggie, to get into real estate.
Oh, by the time I met her, I was already almost done with my course. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had already started everything and I was going to go with a different brokerage at first. And then when I met Kara, we just kind of hit it off so well that I wanted to learn from her in particular. So I just was going to go wherever she wanted to go if she was cool with having me.
Aw,
So
thanks, Mags.
now here we are.
So is it one of those years that you've had that you've kind of knocked it out of the park? I mean, I have no idea. What is the first year
goodness.
average for an agent to...
For a real, like a regular agent or
Somebody
for...
takes it seriously.
We actually just talked about this on our podcast. 90% of realtors their first year fail. 90%.
That's high. That's a high.
Because they don't know what they're getting into, right?
They don't know what they're getting into.
Still that W-2 mentality, right?
For sure. And
That, and I think just before you go on with that, they also joined this last year when the market was on fire and
Right.
expecting, everybody's selling. It's an easy deal. It's this
Shooting
fast.
fish in a barrel.
seeing money.
Exactly. And it was for a good portion of it. But if you can't succeed in a down market, then you should not be in there. You should not be here for the good market.
Yeah.
So right now it is completely flip-flopped and now it's 100% buyer's market and she understands what it looks like now on both sides of it.
Yeah, I got in it at a really high, and now it just turned like that. But I mean, we talked about this today. Like, even though it's super slow time right now and everybody's struggling, me and Kara have seemed to pick up our business more than we had before. So,
Which is kind of talking about what we talked about before we started the podcast, manifesting.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've manifested my entire life.
Really?
Like, just everything up to me and Kara and our team and our success that we've had thus far this year. I've manifested the whole thing.
Including being 7 years with your beau, right?
Yeah.
Which is today's the anniversary.
Yeah, 7 years today.
Are you manifesting a ring on the finger at some point, or what's going
I'm
on
not
with that?
eager. I'm not eager, no.
But 7 years is a long time. I mean, that's For someone as young as you, I mean, that's a big part of your life right there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think I learned from, shout out my parents, but I learned from my parents' mistakes. Both my parents were married 4 or 5 different times, but my grandparents had been married this year, I think is like their 67th year together. So my whole life I was like, okay, I want that. Like I want the long marriage. I want the, cookie cutter, whatever.
What is the secret, do you think?
I don't think there is one. I think it's different. Kara can tell you too. Her and John have been together since high school also. She could probably tell you more than me, but I don't think there is a secret.
You've been with him since high school?
Since we were 17.
Yeah.
Wow.
The same as her.
The same thing.
Yeah.
She is like little Kara. I'm telling you. We are identical person. It's crazy.
Did you take,
weird.
were you a long time courting and dating before you
7 years.
bit the bullet? Gotcha. 7 years. Wow, really?
Yeah. We went
So you know what that means, Maggie?
yeah.
That I have to get married this year.
It's time
To be
now.
like Kara.
You got to do it. Oh, well, and that's what I told her. It's so funny. Like when you start dating young and you go through college and you kind of still are together doing the whole thing. And then now you're out of college and the next step is society wants you to get married.
I think the secret
Have babies,
is
do the
you
whole
have
thing.
to want to make it work.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not something that's just going to happen. You have to wake up every day and choose that person, or else it's not going to work for you. I mean, no day is going to be the same. It's not easy.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
you
Well,
have to
7
want to
years
make it
into
work.
it, you know that by now. I mean, that's something you have to commit to. For my wife and I, it's just we still laugh. We still laugh at each other and laugh with each other.
That's
and,
important.
Yeah,
Laughter.
I mean,
And making time for just the two of you.
Yeah.
And having some fun because you've got kids, I've got kids.
Yeah.
Life gets crazy. It's like date night. I don't care what we're doing. We're going out by ourselves and we're gonna have a good time and it kind of like rekindles the flame again.
Yeah.
Because everybody's in the grind.
Because all of a sudden, it's like, hey, you're putting on the clothes that you put on when you were dating, the pumps.
Yeah.
That's when she puts the pumps on.
You're
and
stepping your game up.
You're wearing makeup. Look at that. Not that she needs to wear makeup. She's naturally beautiful. But I mean, it's one of those things I look at. I'm like, oh, here, there you are.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Hey, no.
But you have to have that. You really do. You have to. I mean, because you wouldn't have your kids, you wouldn't have your family, you wouldn't have everything that you do have if it wasn't for that relationship.
Yeah.
So you really have to nurture that. So
Yeah, because guess what? The kids are going to be out of the house eventually, and it's just going to be he and I. So I hope we like each other still.
That's right.
So you gotta keep
you
the
see
flame
each other
going.
before you go out, and it's game on. That's right.
That's it.
communication too, though, I think is key. You have to be able to talk to the person and you have to learn how to argue. Learning how to argue and how to get past arguments is so important.
My wife has taught me how to be almost thinking like a lawyer, because in the beginning it was like, what are you upset about? I'm just upset. I don't know why. I forgot.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, now I got to remember why I'm upset. No, that's what did it, and then you could make your case. And then even then it's kind of like, okay, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Half the time it's
Not
probably
that big of a deal.
pointless.
Yeah, let it go.
But also what's they said, like we were talking about at the beginning, knowing what you're getting into, that you're going to screw it up.
Right.
It's going to happen. We're
sure.
human. So,
Absolutely. But going back to the new agent thing, I mean, I don't know. I 120,000% attribute my success this year to Kara. Like, I don't think you can make it in this business without having somebody there to show you how to do it and
Absolutely,
what
mentor.
not to do.
Yeah.
More importantly,
I agree.
And a lot of people don't realize getting a mentor is one of the biggest things they can.
it's the biggest accelerator that you can have.
Yeah.
But you're in your 20s, Maggie, right? Do you understand that this is the part of your life where you can mess up, fall on your face, eat the dirt, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I realize that, but I don't want that to happen to me.
Well, you don't, but I
Gonna do
mean,
everything I can to stay on course and
failure, experience, wisdom.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, I mean, it's not complete and utter failure, but you got to get the battle scars.
oh, absolutely.
Right.
For sure.
That's what I encourage with. I don't know how you encourage your kids, but I tell my kids all the time. My daughter is a junior, and I tell her, "What are we doing? Are we doing the college thing? And I've never thought I would be having these conversations and taking them as seriously as I do, because it's like, okay, if we're going to be doing something, now's the time to figure it out.
For sure.
But at the same time, I don't want you to think we're pressuring you to go to college, because if you go to college, I want you to know why. I think that's important.
It's like such a fine line because I think I pressured maybe too. Well, I just feel like college is non-negotiable. Like you're going.
Was that how it was put to you, though?
100%.
Yeah.
Whether it was community college and then to 4-year, whatever, that's fine. But college was important.
Yeah.
Now I get that you don't necessarily need a college degree anymore. I totally understand trade school is just as important.
Yeah.
I think most of it for me, though, I just want him to go and experience it. You're on your own. Like, mom's not cooking and cleaning. You got to get to your classes. It's such a responsibility thing. And go live it up. Like, you have your whole life to work. And he is such a mentality of, I just want to go get a job. I just want to make money. And his work ethic is, like, unbelievable for a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
But I don't care about all that. You can do a job at 22. Go party in college. Get a good education. And then work. Like, I just don't feel like there's no rush. There's just shouldn't be a rush to work.
I think it's self-awareness is the key. That's what I impress upon my kids. I want you to know who you are.
Yeah.
That was what was important for me. That's what was told to me because I wasn't successful at college. What was told to me was that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure. You're done. Okay, so I dropped out 2 years into it. I had to work for my dad and did low voltage phone systems, pulling wire, getting up ladders, doing the trade route, which in the Northeast at that particular time of life and in society was like a scarlet letter. I mean, it was, if you were wearing a blue collar, you were looked down upon. Yeah. Okay, not only by my peers in high school and college that I had, but also the people I worked. I mean, I was working in the Northeast, Westchester County, New York, of all places.
Wow.
Okay. Going into doctor's offices, lawyers' offices. Hey, I'm coming here to fix your phones. Okay, lowly person, there does the closet. Go, let us know when you're done. And it was literally like that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that didn't do much for my self-esteem, but it didn't make me realize until I got into radio, that was my calling. I had to do that. I had to get out of my system. So I impress upon my kids all the time, look, this is what you got to do. You got to figure you out. And you got to understand that it's okay to mess up.
But I think part of that figuring you out is getting other things in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to have different avenues that you can explore.
Yeah.
Right now, he's an ag major. He may get into college and be like, I don't even like that. Like, that's not what I want anymore.
Dude, I was going to go to college to be a CPA. Can you see me as a
No.
flippin' CPA?
No.
I had no idea.
You're too fun for that profession.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You have the energy. You need to be out there. You cannot be crunching numbers all day long.
More so than that, though, I think going to college just opens your eyes to everybody else's experience.
Sure.
Just because, I mean, you meet so many people at college that you would have never met before and so many other cultures and stuff. So I think that experience and that exposure is really important.
I think
I'm not downplaying college at all. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that don't go into hock for it. Like a lot of people have done in the last 20 years, and they have these mountainous-sized debts that they got to pay off, and my goodness.
For a job they don't even.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's the ROI, right? I'm like, if you have an opportunity to go to college and most of it's paid for, yeah, go for the net. Understand your net, knowing what you're getting into
Yes.
it.
Right.
You are networking,
Absolutely.
building your circles,
Right.
knowing people. That's what the value is right there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that is priceless.
Yeah.
The network. I mean, I can still look back because we went to a Catholic high school, and the kids that I went to school with were very. And they came from influential families, right? People owned big Taco Bells or Hooters or whatever, like lots of big people, and those are still in my networking now. Like, I could call and ask for it. So I think it's important that you circle yourself around people like that.
Yeah.
And if college is the avenue, then do it. But if you're going to go to trade school and you're going to just start a job and immediately go into that field not knowing anything else, I don't think that's super beneficial in my personal experience. Hopefully,
There's multiple ways to see it.
Yeah,
We're
so
all about the controversy today, huh?
Yeah.
I guess. For us, he's going to college.
Right.
That's fair.
That's
But I mean, as long as, again, he understands it's about the networking, finding out who you are, the bill's going to be paid. You're not going to have, a mountain of debt coming out of it.
Right.
Then do it, But I told my daughter, I said, we didn't have, in my career, we were a single income family for a majority of our time. Courtney was able to stay home with the kids.
Yeah.
Dad we did okay. We lived paycheck to paycheck up until recently. But, sorry, we don't save money for college, So, but if you want to go, we'll figure it out.
Sure.
Right.
It's not going to be, we're not spending $100,000 plus for an education. Sorry.
It is expensive.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
cow.
expensive.
Not going to
That's
happen.
what my parents really pushed on me too. They were like, apply for scholarships, apply for any financial aid that you can
Absolutely.
get.
Right. Or negotiate.
Yeah. There you go.
Can
Nobody-
you negotiate a college
You can
tuition?
always ask.
I don't know. I
Yeah, I
didn't
know
know
it's
that, but okay.
Why not? Always ask the question.
I mean,
As
hell.
well.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sorry, I don't want to pay. I'm not going to pay $35,000 a year, but I'll pay you $20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do
I think
15?
they'd probably laugh at you and be like, I think you need to get a scholarship.
Okay.
I think you need to look
That's
elsewhere.
awesome.
That's funny.
My numbers aren't the ones going down. Yours are. That's
True.
that's the reality.
Truth, yeah.
I just read an article that trade schools are actually on the uptick.
They
A lot
are.
of people going to trade schools.
You know, and
now.
what's amazing about the trade schools in Tennessee is they're free. If you apply for the Tennessee Promise, which
Right.
they kind of, I mean, we did, even though I'm hoping he goes to the 4-year, it's free for any Tennessee resident. That's incredible. So 2 years of trade school or a 2-year community college is free in the state.
They started that the year I graduated high school.
That's pretty awesome.
With such an acute entrepreneurial spirit that you guys have, especially you, Kara, you know, what if all of a sudden, look, I just want to work. I understand what you're saying, but I just want to work. I want to figure this thing out, and I want to make a buco bucks by the time I'm 25, right? What are you going to tell them? Real estate? Hey, why don't you just do what I'm doing? I always told look, if you want to do this, you're going to figure out. If you're not going to go to college, you're going to go to sell. You're going to sell something, because that is a skill that you need to learn. I think everybody needs to learn it. Mm-hmm. I learned it late in life. I thought I was a good salesperson up until I sold cars, and then I realized how much I sucked. And then I, learned.
Yeah.
I learned the foundation, the fundamentals. And I tell my kids all the time, look, go sell something. I don't care if you don't pay us rent.
Yeah.
If you're working and I see you working bell to bell at a dealership, I don't care if you hate it. Learn to love what you hate. Get great at it.
Yeah.
And by the time you're 20, 21, 22, if you've got 150 grand socked away, now let's go buy a property.
Yeah.
I'll go in it with
Or a
you.
few.
Right. Let's go buy a 16-plex somewhere.
Yeah.
And now you got your place to live, your first place. And now you're funding a lifestyle.
Exactly.
She wants to maybe go to Broadway and be an actress and stuff like that. I said, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fund it.
Exactly.
It's expensive in New York City. But what if you had a property that was funding your lifestyle in New York by the time you're 25?
Now you're speaking my language.
Right.
There you go.
You're
You see what I'm
speaking
saying?
my language.
So what
Yep.
if you teach your kid that, right?
Oh, I've taught that. Yes. So
They know that.
My kids know that. Especially my oldest, super entrepreneurial. He's already started 2 businesses
Good for him.
in high school. I mean, that's his thing. He's very into that.
Fan those flames.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as like buying homes, I bought the kids. They each got a home
Yeah.
because we're big into rentals. We bought them each a home, and that was when the market was in the toilet back in 08, like
Nice.
09. So we did pretty well on those, and that's their college fund. So they've got a ton of equity in each one of them that will be able to fund their college.
Brilliant.
So that was our thing. They each got a house.
Yeah.
We're not a 401k kind of family. We're both self-employed. So
Yeah.
investing in real estate is our jam.
Right.
That's our retirement.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've
That's
already
smart.
started with the kids.
And you started that back in 08? Is that when you started?
So I started
Good
real
for
estate
you.
in 04, but or 03. Sorry, 20 years. I'm almost 20 years. This
20
coming
years.
year.
Yeah. So she's seen the upswings, the downswings,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You're just seeing right now, it's just getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I like, a normal market.
Yeah.
What we just came out of in the beginning of this year was
Nuts.
it was nuts, and it was not healthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't healthy for sellers. It wasn't healthy for buyers.
Wasn't healthy for the state of Tennessee.
It wasn't healthy for agents.
Yeah.
It was a stressful time, and I feel bad for a lot of the buyers that jumped in then because they paid. Shoot, I lost out on some with some of our clients, $200,000 over asking price cash.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Nothing, and those people are already upside down, in my opinion. So it's like, the ones we lost, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you guys lost. Like, looking back, like, I'm glad we lost out on that because now you're in a better position.
Right.
You can buy in a more naturalized economy where
But did you know back in 08 that you were buying things at fire sale prices? Because a lot of people, again, you don't like the 40s, World War II generation, going through that was 3-4 years of just turmoil and
So-
stress.
totally. And for my personal experience, I'm like, I love to look back at property history and see what it looked like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to probably die when I tell you, but like, the very first house I bought was $30,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not even like heard of anymore.
Right.
But when I looked at the property history, that house had sold for $230
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
years before, and I'm going, there's no way it's ever going to get to that value again.
Right.
What do you think I just sold it for?
Oh, probably $500,000.
$230.
Oh, 230, did you?
$250.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's insane. So it's like
Where was that?
Modesto, California.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that's where we are from, born and raised. So that's where we got all of our rentals because we were living there. And then
Isn't
we moved
that,
out here and sold them all.
The city that Monsters versus Aliens is based out of? the movie.
Is it?
think
I
it's
thought you were
Modesto.
gonna
That's
really.
hilarious.
I mean, George Lucas is from there.
Is he?
Yeah, so like,
I think it's a DreamWorks movie, and it's a great movie. We watched it in the theater when the kids were young.
gosh, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, we bought when our first house we bought in Vegas. 'Cause
Oh.
we lived in Vegas from 01 to 05.
Okay.
We bought a house for 147. Market caught on fire during that time. Sold it in 05 we doubled it, 288.
Love it.
I think.
Yep.
Looking back on it, we moved here. That provided us the horsepower to buy what we're in now. And 08 happened. That house was going for like 70. I was like,
I know.
Glad you got out when you did.
I mean, we don't have the crystal ball, unfortunately, but like when those things happen and you're on the other side of it, you're like, okay, I feel good. I feel bad for the ones that didn't survive through that because, God, the foreclosure market was crazy. And that's also when we started getting involved in buying at the court steps and flipping and doing all of that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a super believer in there's ways to make money in every single market.
There is.
And I actually like a down market. I've made a lot of money in those markets, and
everything
so
goes
I'm
on sale.
Everything's on sale, and if you prepare yourself for that, and you do all the necessary steps to put yourself in a good position for that market, you will 100% come out on top.
I'm just in the mode of playing catch up right now.
Okay.
You know, because I had to get the radio out of my system. Doesn't pay, so we didn't.
You'll
make
get
much
there.
money.
You'll get there, but I mean, there is
Manifesting.
opportunity in these down markets for sure.
Totally.
I mean, you're going to see a lot of people that go in investing in these markets become millionaires in a few, like 10 years down the road. And it's just because they've positioned themselves really well to make
That's it.
the most amount of money that you can.
We came into a bit of money recently, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to park it in the bank.
No.
You know,
No.
I put a bunch of it into the VU S&P Vanguard
Okay.
fund.
Okay.
Yeah, bought it at a low.
Well,
So-
I mean, the stock market, I don't play it, but right now I guess would be a good time to get in it since it's
don't-
down in the toilet, right?
I don't play it, but I mean, I knew getting into it before the election was probably a good position, and now it's somewhat rebounding. So
Are you a Bitcoin guy too?
I have a little bit of money in not Bitcoin because I can't wrap my head around buying fractions of a coin. You know, because it's $18,000 a coin right now, and I'm like, what am I?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
But
it was
dude,
like
it was up to
65
six.
yeah.
Right. $65,000.
Insane.
Yeah.
So Ethereum then is probably what you're in. That's the
I've got
driving
Shiba.
force. Oh.
I got
All right, wait,
Doge.
that's like a whole nother conversation.
But I buy, if I stick $100 into something that's got, 4 zeros after the decimal,
Yeah.
you never know.
Well, I got a solution. You give us that money you just came into in the market, and I'll go
We'll make
invest
you
that
some
into a
money.
house for
Really?
you and make you some money.
I might take you up on
I
that.
got your back.
Do it.
know?
Come on.
I
You
Because
have
I
a
think
bunch of realtors
ultimately-
in your pocket, but we can help you out.
Nobody like the Bogetti Partners.
But yeah, partners.
That's right.
Are you starting to get like you go? Don't forget about it. We're gonna put the money in the. You give me the money, we'll freaking put it over here. Forget about it.
That should
Bada
be our
bing,
new.
bada boom.
That should be our new little tag. That's funny.
I love it.
Start using that as our catchphrase.
What movie we watched the other night? One of my favorite. I've probably watched it 5 times, only because to wrap your head around the concept of what they talk about. The Big Short.
Oh,
Never seen
yeah.
Gosh,
It's been
what
a long
great movie.
time since I've watched that. That was a good one.
Great movie.
Yeah.
They really broke down what happened, and it's like it takes you probably good 4 or 5 times to watch it to go, okay, what?
Yeah, that's
You
the
know?
stock market one.
That was the where
When it
08.
crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shorted the housing market.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good one. I'm
That was
going
a great
to
movie.
revisit that one. If you haven't seen it, that might be good.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot of learning
Haven't seen
points
it.
in that. Yep.
Big Short.
Collateralized debt obligations, CDOs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. It's
Big
really
Short?
good. The Big Short.
Okay.
It starts out with a guy who's a doctor, and he's like, a beautiful mind kind of mentality. And he saw it years in advance. The foreclosures, the rate was starting to climb. So he came up with the mechanism, the technology to short the housing market. And everybody thought he was nuts. And he ran a fund, a hedge fund.
Hedge fund.
So he was in charge of it. He could call the shots on it, and he was managing something like $500 million of people's
Oh my
money.
gosh.
And he put it pretty much all into shorting the housing market. And it was like getting to the point where the foreclosures were starting to really escalate in early 07, I want to say. And none of the ratings companies were calling, we're changing the ratings on these different funds and stuff like that. And, they just discovered all the fraud that had been going on and all the, the
terrible.
backroom deals and all this stuff. And, eventually it came to a head in '08 and he was right. But talk about a year and a half of pressure.
Oh,
because they had to pay the premiums
Yeah.
on it.
Who played in that movie?
It was Steve Carell, Brad Pitt's in it, Ryan
I think
Gosling.
I've seen that movie. I think I've seen it. Like
We
now
should-
that you're like
we should watch it
explaining
again.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm
good
pretty.
one.
I think I've seen it.
We should watch it. We'll
It's
do
a
a
good
movie
one.
date.
We'll do a movie
Yeah,
day.
it's a great one. I put it on the other night. My wife's like, "You got to be kidding!" I'm like, "Just watch it again." And she starts.
did.
She goes, "Okay, what's going on with this?" I'm like, "Okay, from what I understand, it's and I would explain it. My kids were watching it and they were like, "What's going on?" I said, "This is what happened in '08. And this is how it happened. This is how they packaged it. They're selling to people, and now they're what do they call it now? The something tranche opportunities is how they repackaged it. That's the new name.
Oh,
Okay.
goodness.
Yeah,
Well,
bespoke tranche opportunities.
I have not heard that term.
Okay.
I'm going to Google that after the show.
Yeah.
But I think the difference between '08 and, well, I actually kind of see it coming, so I kind of am reverting on that. But
Really?
Not to that level, but '08, they lost control of the financing. The lending side got out of whack.
They were
You could
handing
just-
out mortgages to everybody.
Yeah, like
You want a
candy.
loan? Here's a loan.
Yeah.
You want a loan? Here's a loan. But I just did hear Bank of America is doing that right now.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to look into that because I
Just
guess
handing out loans.
no taxes, no personal bank statements, none of that.
Where'd
I'm
you
sure
hear
that a lender friend of mine. But I think that the only thing they're doing is running your credit, which typically is what you need to do. But I mean, if they're starting that process all over again, I mean, remember Washington Mutual in '08? They all closed their doors.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, what a shit show.
Yeah.
Shit show. I don't think we're going back to that level. I hope not. But I think the
But you're going to be able to see
inflation
the
is-
earmarks.
Yeah.
We know what to look for now.
because we felt it. Like you
Right.
said in the beginning of the show, we actually experienced that market. We were homeowners in that market. We were investors in that market. I remember the feeling of myself, not only, but my clients. And so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Strange
you never
times.
know. It could, we don't learn.
Yeah.
But,
Which could very well happen.
well, with that being said,
Oh,
I know. Production elements.
I love it.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
where do we start?
Where do we begin?
Oh my gosh.
Maggie, what's your problem?
What's my problem or what's our problem
I said,
collectively?
what's
Okay,
our-
so our problem, we prepared a little bit for this.
Nice.
So we said our problem as of now in real estate would be getting buyers off the fence and just getting them to pull the trigger. Like if we found you this perfect house, you love it, why are you not buying it? And then that's where we come in like, okay, why not?
Yeah.
Media is
overcoming
your
the
biggest
obstacles.
enemy.
Yeah, the media.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And honestly, like within the time frame of us talking about that and saying the buyers jumping off, I think probably like 6 just pulled the trigger this month. So we're like, maybe they're getting a clue that like, yeah, they're going to raise the rates again. And you're looking at maybe 9 to 10% by the end of the year.
For sure.
So I think buyers are they're listening, but they're educating themselves as well.
Was there a rate? Did it go
Increase.
down this week?
No,
it
they
didn't?
raised it again
Okay.
this last, was it Monday or last Friday?
Right.
I saw something today that they are getting a little better though. Like as of this week, they're a little bit better, but overall, Fed raised the rate.
Yeah, I think what are we looking at, 8 now?
Yeah.
But yeah, so our problem has been like getting buyers, really educating the buyers to why they should get in the market and why they shouldn't wait till next spring.
Right.
So that's been a big
Yeah.
problem for us. But now I don't, like I'm saying, it's flipping a little bit. So
Right.
It is. I mean, we've seen 3 people break their lease and buy a house with us.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, we realize the value of buying right now and how that can help us long term because then you get the appreciation factor and you can always refinance. I know you hear this, marry the house,
Yeah,
date the rate
marry
kind
the
of
house,
thing.
date the rate, yeah.
Exactly. You hear it all the time, but it's the truth. Like, I know it seems scary right now, and that is because it's very over publicized. I mean, everybody's an expert on mortgages now because they can read about it online.
Right.
Headline readers.
But
Yeah.
exactly. So I feel like that just scares a lot of people. But if you're a first time home buyer, now is a really good time to buy a house. If you're in a renting situation, you can get out of that and hopefully for free. We can get seller credits or whatever to help you with
Absolutely.
that. So
yeah.
there's options for everybody for sure.
I think it's a good time for them to get on the market. The flip side of that too is like all these all of our buyers that we're writing offers on, the sellers are giving so many credits right now, and like $25,000 back, or like buying down a point, or repairing all the lists that you know, stuff that we had lost in the beginning of the spring.
Yeah, inspections were off the table, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People
Now
weren't-
everything's back.
you
We're
weren't getting
doing home
anything.
warranties now and all kinds of things.
I mean, so there's benefits to it.
Right.
So that is our problem, but we're finding solutions because Bogetti Partners are solution based.
We are. Got a
We're
solution
not
for
giving
you.
problems.
No.
Now, were your parents really Italian growing up?
So my grandfather's 100% Italian. My mom's maiden name is Pedrioli.
That's not Italian at all.
Not at all. But John's, obviously, my married name is Bogetti.
Yeah.
Italian as well.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
We just had an interview, my friend Rich and I, with a guy who lives in Italy yesterday.
Yeah.
On
That's
a
my
podcast.
dream. That's my dream.
I'm trying to think of the name of the town that he lives in, but man, it's the way he talked about it. It's like, okay.
Have you been?
Never been.
Oh,
It's a
babe,
bucket.
you
It's
gotta-
a bucket list
it's-
country.
I just went a few months ago, and John and I are going to go back next summer. It is.
Exquisite.
You're taking me with you.
Okay, I'll take you. I pretty much, she is my adopted daughter at this point. The daughter I never had and really didn't think I wanted, but I do love you so much.
Whether you want to be or not, Kara, here I am.
I love you so
Here I
much. But Italy was, oh my God,
Yeah.
a dream. I'd live there in a second.
When I get rich off my real estate investing, that's where I'm headed.
Yeah, you can eat pasta and bread and not gain weight.
Gelato
Every
and
day.
yeah.
Every day, that's my dream.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. He's like, dude, you've never had food like you've had it here. I'm like,
you'd
I bet.
And you'd think they would be overweight because
Right.
they eat so well. No, the walking is out of control. And the amount of steps in Italy,
Oh, really?
everywhere is steep steps and lots of, I mean, it's just crazy.
I just thought it was the
Beautiful.
food composition, maybe better food.
That probably plays
That is
a role.
100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah, without all the crap additives
Not
that we have and
processed and all
processed. No.
Not so
It's like
chemical laden.
true,
Yeah.
food. And all the wine. I mean,
Farm to table.
Vino, you got to love the vino.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me
Well, I
and
think-
Kara are big wine drinkers.
Getting back to your problem, you're already taking care of it by having a podcast and spreading that message about, every podcast, you got to bring that up and talk about, hey, now's the time. Got to buy a house. This is the time. Here's the reasons.
Yep.
Or here are the reasons, not here's the reasons. That's grammatically correct.
I think it's all about just talking to anybody that you can about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure my boyfriend and my family and everybody is like, shut up about real estate. But it's like, it becomes your life. It really does. And
Yeah.
Kara knows that too.
Yeah. And that's why our work-life balance comes in, because it does take over. I mean, it becomes a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you talk about podcasts and stuff like that when you're meeting random people. And
It comes up because
it just comes up.
It's like,
natural for you.
again, getting back to my friend Rich, when he talks about what he does, hey, what do you tell people when you meet somebody? Because I tell them I'm in the music business. That's intriguing enough to continue the conversation.
Totally.
I tell people I do voiceover and I produce podcasts, and that's enough to that's the catalyst. Oh, really? Tell me more. That's
People are intrigued by
no-brainer.
what you do. And it's because it's something different from what they do. And real estate, I feel like everybody does it now.
yeah.
So we're not as unique as we used to be. And a lot of them are going to fall off, so we'll be even more unique. But
Yeah.
whenever you say it, what do you think the first question is? Well, how's the interest rates? How's the market? So it's
What do
fine.
you think's
but it's-
going to happen?
What do you
Yeah.
think's going to happen in 2023? But
Like
it's
you
a
said, nobody has a
conversation
crystal
starter.
ball.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's a great conversation starter. And then it's like, okay, so you know somebody that's moving here from California, like everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's just a way to get clients too.
But we really have enjoyed our podcast. And we are getting better every time. It's just so satisfying
it.
to see like where we started, where we are, and where we're going to go with it.
You're listening back to every episode, right?
Yeah.
Good. That's how you get better.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Kara's like, well,
she's put a few out without me listening, and I'm like, Peggy, you should have cut that little area out.
It's okay.
It's okay to-
It's raw. It's
Yeah.
raw. Kara likes the prim, proper, everything to be
just-
perfect. But
I
it's
do.
raw.
I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in that.
perfection isn't profitable.
Okay, but
You're okay, but
I'm thinking it's controversy. Because I mean, I probably
You don't
just
like
said something
conflict.
controversial about the trade school, which I'm saying that I love trade school. I just want my son to go to 4-year college.
Don't cancel me.
Don't cancel me.
cancel us.
But yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Controversy that does create conversation, which creates people wanting to be engaged.
But
so.
you know, you're human. You're going to have opinions on stuff. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's got to get back to being okay again.
For sure.
All right, you're having opinions on
agree.
stuff.
And there's a way to have a civilized conversation when you don't have the same opinion.
Right.
It's just
Well,
about
that happens
being
in
respectful.
person, not over a keyboard.
Exactly.
Okay, the uncivility happens on the internet.
Exactly.
In person, you know, people just you'll get punched in the face. So
Right.
yeah,
So you have to be civil.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want behind that keyboard. You've got like balls of steel back there.
oh yeah. Look
Put
at the
them in
comments
front
I'm
of
getting
you.
on this video.
Right, but it's
You know?
like, hey, show up at my office. I'll let you know where I work. Let's talk.
But I
remember
think
those
there-
days?
Yeah.
I think there is something to be said about sitting down and having a conversation with somebody else that has a different point of view than you,
Totally.
because you can always learn something from
Always.
other people.
But I mean, it's been made okay to, if you disagree with somebody, you can do it violently and vehemently.
Okay, I've got a good.
Online.
I've got a good episode. I want you guys to watch. You maybe have already watched it. Have you watched the Kid Rock Bill Maher?
Bill Maher?
Have you watched their
I haven't,
recent
no.
one? Because complete opposite sides.
Yeah, Bill Maher though he's been getting really in the middle.
Okay,
as of
so you
late.
might enjoy it because Kid Rock is extremely conservative.
Right-wing,
yeah, and it was their whole conversation was, why can't we just sit down and learn something from somebody that's completely opposite from
Right.
from what I stand for, and
Right.
whatever. It was really cool. So
Yeah.
YouTube it. It just happened. I think maybe last week or the week before.
Well, they used to do that on the news shows. They used, Hannity and Combs back in the day was
Love
they were
Hannity.
polar opposites in their thought processes. But Alan Combs was a fantastic guy.
Yeah,
and
and
everything.
there's something you can agree on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they were both pals. They both held each other in high regard. Alan, being in the radio business, Alan Combs was a huge proponent of radio, so he was always helping us out with whatever we needed. And you can see past the belief systems, but there's still a human being there.
And who really cares? At the end of the day, if you're a good person.
Well, I mean, what makes a good person? You want to get into philosophical
Oh
conversations?
shoot! Okay.
This can go very deep.
Do you love,
Kara
do you
knows I'm
love
all about
puppies and
this.
kitty cats?
Kara knows I'm all about the deep conversation.
I know.
So we
I
could
am
get
too.
into a
That's where
rabbit
our
hole.
psychology gets us in trouble. It's like,
Yeah.
well, how do you feel today, Maggie?
Well,
Well, actually, I feel really shitty today, Kara. How do you feel? Well, I'm having a great day. Don't ruin my day.
Well, the good news is you can choose to not feel crappy.
Yeah.
that's true.
know?
I feel like Kara and I are just very one with each other more than other people, but just very blunt. So she's like,
Yeah.
"How are you today?" I'm like, "Well, I feel like shit. Thanks."
Yeah. But thank God we're like that because we don't do the elephant in the room. I mean, being
know.
business partners, it's got to be laid out. Like it makes or breaks the day if there's an elephant, right?
Yeah, it's
So-
another marriage.
Yeah.
It really
swear.
is.
Yeah.
Have you had a business partner?
Never.
Never. Okay.
Never.
Yeah.
I mean, in real estate.
Right,
never.
right.
I mean, I never wanted to have a team. I wasn't into that. I've been so independent for so many years that
Yeah.
I never wanted to feel like I was letting somebody down. Like maybe I wasn't producing enough for them, or maybe I was overdoing it, or I don't know. All those anxiety bullshit things you go through your head, right?
That don't really amount to anything.
They
at the
don't
end.
amount to anything. 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm doing my best. Like that's it. So, and she doesn't put that pressure on me, and that was, if anything, she's made me probably a better agent because I'm now holding myself not only accountable to my own, but I have to be there for her.
Right.
So it steps my game up.
Right.
Which,
That makes sense.
yeah, that's
And with a healthy relationship like that, it'll push you both.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
There are going to be days where you're going to be like, I just don't want to look at you.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Right. But I'll tell you, like, we're probably going to have the number one year I've ever had in my career.
Nice.
Like, she's she's helped me scale. And I can only imagine, like, honestly, next
That
year's
makes me
going to
feel
be
so good.
Next year's
Kara's
going to be
like-
baller. I mean, it's
great. And I think what you said about holding each other accountable, I wake up every day and the first thing I think about is, okay, what does Kara need me to do today?
Yeah.
And it's like, that is very healthy because even though, I mean, she struggles with anxiety, I struggle with depression. So it's like, even though there's days that you have, and it's like, okay, I just can't even get out of bed, you have that extra driving force where
You're accountable to somebody.
Exactly. Especially in our business too,
Yeah.
because it's very easy in real estate to wake up and be like, okay, I don't want to do anything today, and really not do anything that
No.
day. So
Absolutely.
it gives you that extra pressure, I
like
guess.
yesterday.
I've had days like that in my, last 6 to 10 years of entrepreneurship, not preneurship, where, you take a day and just decompress. I feel like if I do that now, it's like I'll go out of my mind. I want to do something.
But you need it. You got to have self-care. That's so, it's just important mentally. And I think you need a refresher. Like for me, I've got, my husband and 3 kids.
Yeah.
And something always falls short. If I'm 100% real estate based, then I'm not even nearly a good mom or a good wife. Like I have to balance that.
But again, what is good? But define what is good.
I need to be present.
Right.
Present.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that. I've got to be present. I've got to be present for the kids when they come home from school. It's important that I'm up when they leave for school.
Is that the pressure you put on yourself?
Yeah. They're kids.
How long have you felt this way?
Always. I mean a Dr. Phil session now.
But I think that's important.
Do you
want
to lay down on the couch?
Go right ahead.
It's important to say too, though, that everybody that you have employees too. Everybody brings something different to the table.
Yeah.
Kara brings her experience. And I don't want to say this, but like I bring my youthfulness. Like I know how to work the social media and how to scale our business on that end. I have the time that I can bring to the table, but she has the experience and the knowledge that she brings. So it's like both of us together can really make a power team.
Oh my gosh, we are the power team.
You guys on MySpace?
You know what? No. Is that really even an app anymore? Is that still created? Like, can you make an account?
You got to get on Frackle.
Frackle.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just made it up.
It's like Tinder.
You never know. Like, there's so many apps and so many different streams out there. You could say anything and I might believe you.
I got to give credit, otherwise he's going to call me out. My good buddy Matt Wilson, who runs the Mostly Automotive Marketing podcast, he came up with the name Frackle, and we put it into the outro lingo on the copy that he had me do. And I said, find us on Frackle. Frackle's not even a thing. What is Frackle? That's actually on the end of the podcast. But
Find us on Frackle.
Be Real, that's the thing now, right?
Yeah,
Be Real.
Be Real.
Are you doing Be Real?
I do Be Real.
Do you? I don't even know what that is. I
don't have a clue.
I do Be Real. It's okay. I don't do it as much as some other people do it, but it basically just rings a notification on your phone at a random time during the day. I think I could be wrong about that.
And it takes a picture of you and your other, like both sides of the camera.
Yeah. So you hold it up and it takes a picture of you and then what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So it's like it takes away the highlight reel of Instagram and all of that.
I love that.
Because it's like, okay, well, what are you actually doing right now?
On like one side, you're taking a picture of your duck face, right? And on the other side, like you're in a landfill or something.
And then it posts to like a site?
Yeah, it's an app.
Like you post it. They don't automatically post it.
Yeah,
it
you
posts
post
to MySpace.
You post it.
To MySpace.
Yeah. You post it and then you can't, that's the thing about it too, is you can't see other people's posts until you post for that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it won't show anybody else's until you post
It's
yours.
almost like a challenge.
Wow.
Kind of.
All right.
It's like, well, I'm not going to take the Be Real if I don't want people to see what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, no makeup, watching a movie.
Right now, I'm taking a dump. No.
And you have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to take it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got to hurry up and wipe.
Oh my God.
Hey,
But that's
I
the
go
thing.
there, okay?
That's the whole.
Oh, you went there.
It takes away the highlight reel. It takes away the
It adds imperfection.
aspect of okay, my life is perfect because it's not.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess half the time.
What do you guys, I mean, you got, Maggie, you're going to be getting your battle scars in business. It's inevitable. Kara, you and I, we've been through the ringer a couple of times. What do you think of these gurus that are out there, touting, my course made me $45,000 last month, and all you got to do is that kind of thing. The
get rich schemes.
I guess, but the people that have like the influencer status, but they're not really influencers. I guess I've heard them called douchebag marketers before.
Douchebag marketers.
Yeah.
So you're saying like, if you follow my step by step, you'll make this much, like those guys.
Right.
I don't think there's any quick get rich.
No.
I just don't believe it. I mean, and maybe that's my generation speaking. You got to work hard.
Yeah.
You put in the time, the sweat equity. You got to do your thing.
Yeah.
You'll make it, but you got to put in the time.
I almost feel like there's a podcast that does nothing but call these guys out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about starting one.
Start one.
Yeah.
And just go into depth
That's
on
right.
each one why
Yeah.
their douchebag marketing is bullshit.
I felt, and Bradley knows this, I've told him this before. I'm like, dude, when I first became aware of you, I wasn't a fan. I said, but as I started watching and listening, I was a huge fan.
Okay, well, then just say, I don't even know who that guy is, but you had mentioned, I think he was somebody that was on recently. Okay, so he's got his step-by-step, but how did he get to that point? Don't tell me he didn't fall down like 5,000 times.
It took him 20 years.
Okay, so that would be like me sitting here right now, and I could probably do it. Here's the step-by-step on how to acquire real estate and become a millionaire by 40.
Yeah.
I mean, will you pay me to tell you that?
Well, they're getting it for free on our podcast.
Exactly. So do you know what I mean? Like I could tell you that.
With my kids, I would set the expectation. Look, if you want to be a millionaire by the time you're 30, here's what you do.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do if I were you. Here's
Okay.
what I'm trying to do. But
Yeah.
I have, here's where they'll accuse me of, well, you're creating excuses. I'm like, no, I've got obligations. I've got a mortgage. I've got a family to support. I've got insurances to pay for. We got expenses, blah, blah, blah. It's going to take a longer time for me. But dude,
Yeah.
at age 18, 19,
Fully capable
if
of
you
doing
just do this, this, and this,
Yeah.
30, guaranteed,
And you know what the first step is?
is to friggin' maximize your time for income.
Make your bed.
Don't start
Make
with me
your
on that.
bed.
Don't start with me on that.
Start
Don't
with a bed
start.
made.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I love you.
I'm not
Make
sure
your
I
damn
agree
bed,
with
Maggie.
that. I'm not sure I agree with that.
I've heard that before, and I think that's
It's a
There's
book.
a flipping
It's a
book, I
book.
think, is
Yeah.
called Make Your Bed. It just starts your day.
all you have to do
That's the
is
thing.
this one thing.
And
Just make
we've
your bed.
had this conversation before about starting your day with the intention or a good intention and how you want your day to go.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with the make your bed aspect of it, but
It's got to be you, though. It's got to be
it
your
has
thing.
to be you.
Yeah.
It has to be you. And it
Lately-
looks different for everybody.
I've got to drop a couple of pounds. So I've just accepted the fact that this is as part of my routine now.
Right.
I gotta put some weights over my head, get out and walk, and get back into it.
I think, though, a big thing that will help you accelerate is not only to learn from your own mistakes, but to be very mindful of the people around you and learn from their mistakes, because that's going to help you grow way quicker.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And even people that came before you.
Oh, for
you know?
sure.
I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier. Like, your business is going to be catapulted. And I'm not patting myself on the back by any means, because I had a mentor when I started too. And I think the people that just try to blindly start, it's going to take them much longer. So you're learning from my mistakes. I'm sharing, oh wait, don't do it like that, do it like this. And so you can skip that learning process a little
Absolutely.
bit. I want you to fall a few times, and you will, and you have. And that's okay. And I'm only thinking about the open house one.
I know, stop.
But I mean,
That's good, healthy stuff. That's good. That's going to make you a better agent moving forward.
I think so.
not enough people marinate their minds in good stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I think. If I had to go back and be dependent on selling cars again, like I did once upon a time in my life, transitioning from radio into what I'm doing now, I sold cars for 3 years. I would marinate my mind in good stuff. Constantly listen every day to something good and feed your head. Because it's really easy in that business and real estate, I would imagine. They're very similar businesses in reality.
But I'm learning they are very, very different.
Yeah, they
the
are.
sales aspect, which I am now selling used cars for my boyfriend's dad. He's owned a used car lot for a really long
You
time.
are?
Yeah.
Really?
That's how I'm driving the BMW I'm driving right now. But he is letting me and Reed sell cars to be able to drive for free.
But
right?
that's going to help you in your real estate business too.
Right. But what I'm saying is I've learned that when you're selling a car, it's much different than selling a house. You're not an order taker.
Right.
Like, because in real estate, you listen to other people, you listen to their needs, and then you find them something specific. In the car business, you sell them on that car.
You can.
make them find a reason to like that car, and you
can.
sell it to them. You're selling them the product rather than having them tell you a list of needs that they want, and then you meet them.
But
So it's
that
different.
was my methodology that, in the beginning, the foundational aspects of the car business is that, okay, find the car, land them on the car, sell them that car. When I got to Mercedes, it became different where they already knew what they were going to buy. It was just a matter of, okay, do we have it? And can we find it if we don't have it?
Right.
And what's to stop you right now from putting a deposit on something? It was actually a lot easier in the luxury brand than selling Honda, because Honda, we had competition.
Right.
Four or
Right.
five other dealerships in town that we had to contend with. With Mercedes, not so much. So it was funny, the block that I had mentally with the luxury side of the business, I didn't have. Like, talk about just the psychological aspect of self-limiting beliefs. I thought Honda was it. I would go to our sister stores like BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, and think like I'm less than. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until I had a customer that told me, dude, you need to be selling Highline. And he used to sell cars, and he got into something different. He, like most people do in the car business. But he's like, I'm like, you really think I could? Unbiased person looking in and seeing the outside of my bottle, my label, and telling me, no, dude, you can totally do this. It didn't matter if my wife told me, if my in-laws, my parents, or my brother told me that I could do it. It mattered if he told me for some reason.
Interesting.
I don't want to say it's called cognitive bias, or maybe. I'm not sure what the term is. It's like, me telling my wife she's beautiful doesn't matter until she gets hit on at the grocery store and asked out for coffee, where it really sinks in. So somebody tells me, hey, you'd be good at this. Okay. Let me look into it. I'll take it seriously now. Some stranger.
But maybe it was a confidence booster.
It was.
Yeah.
He doesn't know me.
Right.
Right.
So you have some stranger going, actually, you're doing a damn good job. You
Right.
should be signed for luxury.
Right.
And your confidence just went,
No, it wasn't even confidence. It sparked it's planted the seed.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, let me look into that. It's
Maybe
an
I
easy
can
transfer.
do
And,
this.
I took it more seriously, fell more in love with the idea, put in the transfer. I transferred in the middle of the month, which was like car business suicide. I started at Mercedes in the middle of December. And I said, I'm going to forgive me for my harsh language, but they call it pop your cherry.
Can you say that a little louder?
I know.
Our viewers didn't hear that, Jen.
I know.
I barely heard that.
I'm going to sell my first Mercedes by the end of the month. And that was New Year's Day. And I literally, on that day, New Year's Eve day is when I did it.
You manifested it.
Manifested.
Seriously,
Love
it's all about telling yourself
And
that you can do
the
it.
next car I sold was my first six-figure car I've ever sold.
Hell
And I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I sold $100,000 plus car.
That's badass.
awesome.
I can totally do this.
Let's talk about imposter syndrome for a second because I have it major.
Oh,
Yes,
Really?
I do. I major.
stop it. I don't
Why?
know this about you.
Yeah, because okay, for those of you that don't know what imposter syndrome is, but
I think we have another problem here.
my problem.
That's right. This is two
Because
problems in
I'm-
one episode. This is
my
the first.
Gosh.
And I guess this is because I have had an accelerator, I have had a mentor that has put me in different positions that I probably would not have been in if I didn't have you or I wasn't putting myself in these scenarios. But I mean, even with like BNI and just different organizations and meetings that I've gone to, I'm in a room with the people that have done the things that I want to do.
Right.
And are very successful and are where I want to be. And so I'm like, okay, well, should I really be here? Like, do I belong here?
Yes.
But
and
the
here's the
answer is
reason
yes.
why is because
Absolutely, yes, you do.
when you're in the room with people that are smarter than you, that's the right room to be in. And that's the
Absolutely.
way, that's your perspective. That's how you need to look at it. If you're the smartest person in the room,
You're not learning anything.
that's not the right room.
It can be very intimidating.
Yeah.
It can be very intimidating.
But, intimidation goes by, you just shut up and watch.
Absolutely.
Jump in when you have something to say and just sit back, watch, and listen.
Yeah, that's my problem, imposter syndrome.
It's actually very unsettling when you do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to label it. I think you are so like, what is the word for you? Like
You call me a sponge all the time.
you are a sponge.
Yeah.
She is a sponge. She loves to ask questions, and they're good questions. And you're just taking it all in and you're applying it. So that room is perfect for you.
You see this as not a have to, but a get to.
Right.
Right. So that's a stage in life people aspire towards. I get to do this every day. Retirement is something in a stage in a person's life of I get to do the things I want now because for the past 40 years, I've had to do the things that I've had to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing something that is a get to, game changer.
That is game changer.
Game
Oh,
changer.
for sure.
You know?
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen that all over TikTok, books,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, but you've never really thought that
mindset.
that's you? Because that's you, babe.
I know.
I
That's
get
pretty
what she's
impressive
saying,
at
though.
22.
I get what she's saying because my imposter syndrome happened when I made my first big move to Vegas. That was a big market jump from Danbury, Connecticut to Las Vegas.
Oh, absolutely.
So who am I? Well, and I looked at it. Well, I'm not going for the biggest radio station in Vegas. I'm going to be working for these two AM talk radio stations, but it's for CBS Radio. That's a big animal, and it's a big feather in my cap. But all the other stations I applied to were in major markets. I had a lot of chutzpah back then. I still do. But I never realized and manifested those major markets because I was still too new.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough experience. I was an imposter. What makes me think I would be worthy of working in a Dallas or an Atlanta or Miami? Vegas, yeah, I could probably make that happen, And then I realized early on enough that, we go through in the first like 8 stages of our life. You're in the summer of your life right now, right? That is where you feel like you just continually get back to the bottom of the barrel and you got to climb yourself back up. You graduate high school, you get back to the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
College. Then you get into the working world, back to the bottom of the barrel, right? Now you're climbing back up again. You get the big fish in the small pond thing.
That's exactly what I was going to just say.
Yeah, that's what
Small
happened with
fish in
me.
big pond.
Yeah,
You're thinking
which
about
is okay.
Nashville. Yeah.
But I mean, I became the big fish in a small pond in the radio station where I worked in Connecticut. Everybody came to me for their production. Everybody did this, that, and the other thing. They always came to me because I became that big. I'm like, I can't grow anymore. Let me go to Vegas and work with these bigger producers, these guys that know how to process audio the right way and get around people that are just bigger thinkers than I am. What a difference maker. So grateful for it. But again, the first 6 months was like, what am I doing here?
We seriously talked about this on one of our podcasts because that's exactly to a T how I felt, Jim.
Right.
Like to a T. I already was the big fish in real estate in our community in California. And I didn't have to pay for leads. Everybody, referrals were easy. It was just happening.
You're a person of interest at that point.
Exactly.
Come out to Nashville. I'm a nobody. Yeah. Nobody knows my name. And so, now I'm in year two now. And it's like, okay, I'm going to have a name out there and I will do what I need to make that happen because that's what I want. I don't feel like I'm I don't feel like that's the right word. You have the wisdom and the experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that makes it a little different.
Yeah.
But I still totally feel that.
But that's how I was coming to Nashville from Vegas, because in Vegas, it took me about 6 months to a year to all of a sudden, all the other radio stations would start coming to me. Okay, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you voice this? And then I started getting around other people that did bigger things and started emulating them, voiceover wise, production wise, getting around different talk hosts, how to conduct yourself around celebrities because they came in all the time and stuff like that. You start getting these chops and you bring them with you to Nashville. Mm-hmm. Nashville, I felt like I was a big fish in a small pond. Like, there was growth to be had. I certainly grew, but it was a lot of self-generated growth. I got more into video production at that point when we came to Nashville and, all these other things. So it was more self-starter. Okay. And that's how I kind of, started. My first side hustle gig didn't happen until Vegas, until somebody showed me, and I'm still friends with him. He was my predecessor in my job there. And he told me, he says, I got sick and tired of looking at the salespeople and the cars they drove. And he says, I want to drive those cars. Mm-hmm. How do I do that? Mm-hmm. The only way to do that in radio, start yourself a side hustle doing voiceover or production. And I was like, I could do that.
And you have the voice for it.
And again, lack of confidence. Well, I can't use my own voice. I need to have 10 other people in my roster to sell what I do, because not everybody's going to want to have my voice. It's not that good.
Right.
Literally is what I told myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't take my voiceover stuff seriously. Maybe 5 years ago.
Now look at you.
Oh, well, look at you. You have the most amazing voice.
I know.
I couldn't even do that. I hate listening to my voice. That was the hardest thing about this podcast thing, is listening to yourself talk.
It is. That really is the hardest thing.
It's like, talk about,
But I trust me, I still hear myself like I stammered just now. I have to train that out of myself. The only way that happens is listening back.
Oh, for sure.
And writing it down.
And we've learned a lot from you in particular about the whole podcast thing. I mean, I know a little bit about it coming in, and not enough, but I think that's also just where it comes in. Ask for help all the time.
No need to reinvent the wheel.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny, when we do our vision board, because that's something we did right off the bat. She said, well, there's something I kind of want to do. And I'm like, well, what is it? And she's like, well, I think I want to start a podcast. And it was like, no way. That's been on my vision board also. So it was like, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I don't listen to podcasts. That's not really something that I've really implemented into my daily. And she did. And so I was like, how are we going to do this? And
I've
then
been
she met you, obviously, at
too.
BNI. And yeah.
I've said, even since I was freshman in college, I've been telling Reed for years, I'm like, I want to start a podcast. but I don't know what I want it to be about.
Yeah.
I want to start a podcast, but I don't know what it to be about. And then I had a friend and I was like, hey, do you want to start a podcast? And she was like, yeah. And so then we started talking about it and like almost getting serious. And then we wanted it to be about two different things. I was like, okay, this isn't going to work.
No.
We have to want the same goal. And then I met you and then we started talking about it. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of
And then
right
you
place,
just,
right time.
And then Jim just put it all together.
Yeah, he did. And you're awesome for that.
You are awesome for that.
I am
So
awesome
much
for
for
that.
us. You do. You do so much for us. So seriously, shout out really quick. If anybody needs or wants to start a podcast, call up Jim because he will help you immensely.
Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do people find and follow you? You got your website up and everything?
Yeah.
Nice.
Find us on our Instagram or however, Instagram, Facebook.
It's all on the Bogetti Partners channels and all that, everything?
Yep. Bogetti
Right on.
Partners. That's our
We have
website
our-
as well.
We
Okay.
have our website linked in our bio too if you just want it easy to find. But
And then if you want to find the podcast is on all the Spotify and
Yeah.
YouTube.
Spotify,
and-
YouTube.
Get a link
iHeart.
tree, or I don't know if we talked about getting a link tree together for you guys, so you have all your links in one place, or at least a landing page on a website.
We
with
do
all-
have that.
We do.
Okay.
We do have that. Comes
Yeah.
off our Instagram page.
Yeah.
We'll put all those links in the description, and you can check Kara and Maggie out and the Work-Life Balance podcast that they have out now. And, of course, check us out, what'syourproblempodcast.com. Like, subscribe, share. Sharing is caring. Be a share bear. And get it all out there. Rate us. 5-star ratings. If you can't feel like you can give a 5-star rating, let me know what you need to do. And, we'll try and fix that for you moving forward. Then you can give us a 5-star. Ladies, thank you so much for coming out
Thanks,
here. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so
We
much. That was
appreciate it.
fun.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right.